Okay, we're going to look at our second CAD exercise right now. This is the second exercise from Module 4, Multi-View Orthographic Projection. And in this demonstration, I'm going to do the CAD exercise 4.2, the cradle support. So on the assignment on the screen, you can see that the cradle support is figure 6-100 on page 123. It is a metric drawing. And the reason in particular that I want to do this as the second demo here is because it has some interesting center lines that I want to show you how to properly draw according to the CAD standards for the class and for the department in general. Okay, so let's get started. So I've started my drawing again. Actually, let me go through that again just so you can see. Let me close this. And I'm going to start a drawing with a template, and I want to make sure that I use the metric template right there. Okay. And all right, so we're ready to get started. We can choose whichever view we want to get started with, but I'm going to go ahead and start with the right view, or excuse me, with the front view. So we'll draw a line down here. Let me turn on, I don't have object tracking on. So there, I want to turn that on. And that way, notice with object tracking, I can get the little green lines that help me draw horizontally and vertically or at specific angles. So now I want to draw 60 down here. The geometry, this is not a terribly difficult object to draw. This isn't, we're not talking about a lot of difficult geometry. And so the views are going to be complex, or you're going to have difficulty understanding them. So we can kind of focus on some of the details that are going to help you get this drawing drawn properly. So again, like I did in the last one, I'll just draw the visible lines to get started with, and then I'll come back and add the hidden lines. You don't have to do that, and like I said, oftentimes in my when I'm drawing, I'll kind of mix everything together. So, but let's draw the top view now. So the top view, I'm just going to project it up here, and then go, let's see, 60, and then I really hope that you can practice this technique of projecting the lines across, because it really does speed up your drawing. It actually makes it more accurate because you're using geometry that you've already drawn. So at least from the point of view of if you've drawn it right the first time, you're going to continue to draw it with those dimensions. Of course, if you draw it wrong the first time, then you're just going to propagate those errors through. All right, so we got the front, top. Let's get the circles in there, the holes, I should say, offset 10. So let's try that again, offset 10. And we'll go 20 from here and 40 from here. I'll zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to draw a circle right here with a diameter of 10, and a circle here with a diameter of 10. I can get rid of these. And then let's see. I think that's it for that. And then let's get the front view done here. So a line again. I'll project this across. And notice how I'm doing this. I'm picking up this line. I'm not clicking. I'm projecting across, and then I click. And then I draw this 60. One of the things that I see people do a lot of times, and normally I make much more mention of this when we're in class, because I can actually see what you're doing with the mouse. But let me show you a common problem with beginning users. Okay, so I have polar tracking up, right? So I get this green line that helps me draw vertically and horizontally and at other angles, right? 45 in this case. But what happens is new users, beginning users, will want to use this green line to help, but they won't let go of the mouse, or they will shift the mouse while they're doing it. So let me show you what happens. So I'm going to go up here and I want to draw, this is going to be 60 millimeters high. So I go like this and I'm going to type in 60, and you know, this is tough for you to see, or I should say it's impossible for you to see, but what I'm doing is I'm looking at the keyboard as I'm typing the 60. But what happens is I'm not paying attention to my mouse, and then I move the mouse as I'm typing in, and my line goes askew. Okay? So this, and it can be something as subtle as moving it like this, right? I see this a lot where you kind of shift it, and then you go 60, and then everything is kablooey at that point. So, you know, you have to be really careful when you're using polar tracking. And one thing that I suggest, especially for beginning users, is to not use the mouse so much. In other words, I can go up, I can make sure my line is going vertically in this case. The distance that I'm projecting doesn't matter because I'm going to type in 60, right? So I can just move the mouse up here. I can move the mouse down here. Once I get that vertical line, I let go of the mouse, right? That way I have no chance of knocking the mouse or moving it off the vertical, and I can just type in the 60, okay? So if you're having trouble with your lines, then, you know, it just isn't getting horizontal or vertical. You know, I don't know what's going on. It might be that you're inadvertently nudging it off of the horizontal and vertical, the green line, and you're not noticing that. All right, so let's continue on here. Like I said, that I can see that more when we're in class. Of course, we're not in class right now, so it's a little bit hard for me to see you having this issue. Okay. Now there's a half circle here from the midpoint. So notice I have midpoint object snap on. All right. Where is it? Right there. Now, if you don't have midpoint object snap, let me turn mine off. What's going to happen is you're going to go over to the circle, and you're going to go and sorry, I also have the perpendicular object snap, which shouldn't be working properly, but that's what, or working in that way, but it is. And you're going to come over here, and there's not going to be a midpoint that you can grab, right? You can see I got an endpoint object snap and another endpoint. Well, but that's not right. So in this situation, you want midpoint on. Now, remember that object snaps can be turned on in the middle of a command, right? So I'm in the circle command. I don't really want to go out of it. I'm where I need to be in terms of command. So I can just go down here to object snap, hit midpoint, and then there we go. And now I want a radius of 24. I can trim that, trim that. Now here's that little trick. I mentioned it in the last one, right? What is that length right there? Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could do the math, but you know, I don't want to do the math, right? But that length right there is my offset length right there and right here. So I can go to offset, and when it says offset distance, I can say I want that 1, 2, those 2 points to set my offset distance. Now it's recorded, and I can offset that distance right there, okay? Good technique to know. All right, so I think I got all my visible lines in there, so let's go ahead and work on the hidden lines. I'll change my layer to the hidden layer, and we'll just start projecting across. And look, I can use midpoint here. This is also a quadrant. Object snap quadrant, but I don't have that on. I have midpoint, so that'll work. Let's go offset, and we want to offset from here to here, this line. Now, that because I offset a visible line, it's going to create a visible line. So I do need to change this to a hidden line. Let's project some more lines. I'm going to project from this quadrant down here. Whoops, now that's wrong. I'm giving away some stuff here, so I expect you to have this correct. This hole is only projected through this depth. Right there. That depth. This hole is projected through the full depth, or full thickness, I should say, from this. All right. So you can clearly see this hole is on the bottom side, or the forward side of this hidden line, which means that it's short. All right. So let's see. Oh, okay. I got these lines. Now here's another technique, right? Another little gem to use here. So I need to put hidden lines for the holes in this view. Okay. So let me show you how to do that real quick and easy. Okay. I'm going to put the center line in here first. I'm going to go to the center layer, and center lines, we go to annotate, and then there's the center mark, and I'm going to put a center mark here, and I'm going to put a center mark there. Okay. I'm also going to put a center line. Now here we pick the two opposing lines right there, and do that again from here to here. Okay. Now, first things first, I do want to mention this does not have a break in it. That is not a problem. Do not worry about this not having a break. That's something that's very difficult to control in the new AutoCAD. I don't really like that it's difficult to control, but it's fine. Remember that these center lines will print with thin line weights. So they will be discernible from the visible lines and stuff. Okay, so that being said, now watch how we're going to do this. All right. So this hole is right here in this right side view. And the appearance of the hole in the right side view looks identical to this, right? Because it's a hole, right? In a profile view. So watch what I'm going to do. All right. I'm going to go to copy right up here. All right. Select the objects. I'm going to pick. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work. I was going to say, you know what? I can. No, that's not going to work because I don't have those lines set up like that. Oh, well, sorry. I'll have to show that in another demo. Basically, what I was going to show you is how we could copy these lines across there. It's not as easy as I thought, and I don't want to get too detailed because then I'll lose too many of you, and this is still a demonstration. So that being said, let's go ahead and get these in there. So the center for this will offset 10. I'm going to offset that right there. That's the center of the hole. And then we're going to offset another 10, but in this direction. Okay. Now I can do what I was going to do, which is copy. And I'm going to grab this one right here. And hit enter. It says specify a base point. I'm going to choose that intersection right there. That's the intersection of the center mark and the top visible line. And I'm going to move it right there. Okay. See how that worked? Let me erase that line. All right. So now we can do that again. I thought I was going to be able to do that a little bit more elegantly. I clearly did not think clearly about that. So specify my base point and then do this. Move it right there. Okay. And then we can erase that. All right. So little time saver there. All right, so this looks good, but we do have a couple of issues that we need to do, that we need to take care of. First of all, we have the center marks here and the center lines here, but we need a center mark on this one, okay, on this half circle. So I'm on the center layer, so that's good. I'm going to go to annotate and center mark, and I'm going to put that in there like that. But you'll notice that there's a problem here. We actually have a couple of problems, okay? The first problem is, and by the way, this is why I wanted to do this demonstration. The first problem is that line, this top part, the one that's going due north right here, that should not be there, right? The circle doesn't extend up there. So really, we only need these bottom three parts of the center mark. And that one needs to go away. Now, the problem with this new center mark command is I can't just erase that, right? I can't trim it. I can't erase it. It's part of the object here. So we kind of have an issue, all right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to manually construct the center mark here, all right? That's really the only solution. We also have another issue that's going to confound us again and make it imperative that we manually construct this. And that is, see how we have an overlapping line here? We have the center mark going on top of the visible line. That is not appropriate. Okay, that is not appropriate. Let me show you in our CAD standard what the solution is. So I'm going to pull my the CAD standard across. Remember, this is in the file section of the Canvas class. You can also find it in Module 3. But let me go down here. It's right near the beginning, right there. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Okay, so we're looking at this image right here, all right? So we want and need a 2 millimeter gap between the center line and the visible line right there, okay? So that 2 millimeter gap, or 0.09 inches if we're doing an inch drawing, is what we need on both sides. And notice the top one is gone. So there's not really an easy way, a good way, to do this with the center mark object. And so that's, again, why we're going to draw it manually, okay? Which is kind of the way that you had to do it before this goofy version of AutoCAD came out. As you might be able to tell, I'm not a big fan of the center line and center mark command. I think they're hooey, which is a polite way to say garbage. But anyway, let's move on. So we're going to get rid of this. And what we're going to do, we're on the center layer, right? So really all we got to do is draw a line. So I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Okay. And I'm going to draw a line from the center here down here. Okay. So first things first, let's get that 2 millimeter gap. So how do we do 2 millimeter gap? Well, what we can do is we can offset 2 millimeters this circle. And that gives us a trim edge. So now I go to trim, and I pick this edge, and then I trim that and that right there. All right, very good. All right. Now I also need a 2 millimeter extension on this one. Well, it's no surprise what we're doing there. We're just going to do the opposite. We're going to extend that and then use the extend command. Okay. Now the last thing is I need this to, excuse me, I need this to extend slightly. And really one way to do this is just to eyeball it, right? I know I shouldn't be saying that, but really it's perfectly fine with this. Really what we want to do is we want to extend this line, this vertical line, about that distance right there. Okay. Now, if I wanted to get really, really picky, I could draw a circle and I could open it up right to, notice it won't stop there because that's really part of the gap built, the gap built into the center line. So it's not going to grab it, but look, I can just eyeball that circle right there. Then I can grab this grip and just stretch it up right there. Okay. And there you go. All right. Now that is a correct looking center mark. All right. Now we have another issue actually right here. We can just put in a regular center line between here and here. All right. But here we have another issue. Okay. So here, let's pull this across here. So we need a center line for the front view of this half circle cutout. But the center line is actually going to lie right on top of our visible line. And remember, we have a line precedence, and the line precedents say visible line is always on top. So what I need to do is I need to draw a center line under the visible line. But it's a little bit more tricky than that. Again, let me pull across the CAD standard, and you'll see in this image right there, that's exactly what we want to do. So we want to have the center mark that is under the visible line. We want to have it break 2 millimeters and then jut out a total of 8 millimeters from the edge. Okay. So how do we do that? Well, very easy. Come over here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset 8 millimeters from here and here. So that's 8 millimeters. Then I'm going to offset 2 millimeters. And then I'm just going to draw a line from here to here. And then I can erase this. And there we go. All right. So my friends, that is the geometry, the drawing, the 3 views of this completed with the proper center marks. Okay. Let's finish this up. We're going to prepare it for plotting on an A3 border, so I can double click in here, do a zoom extents, and then let's set the scale. Let's try 1:1. That's perfect right there, 1:1. We just move it a little bit over there. Double click outside, and we want to lock that border. Whoops. Let's double click back in and go lock that border, and then double click outside. And now we can just enter in the title block and border information. We go to drawing utilities and drawing properties. And then under the custom tab, drawn by instructor, C-Vails, course, MDT 101, drawing title. This is the cradle support. Whoops, I spelled cradle wrong. This is drawing number 4.2. This is revision 0. This is sheet number 2 of 4, right? Because this is the second of 4 drawings. The material is not available, and it's checked by C-Vails. All right, so we say OK. To get these to show up, we do a Regen RE and hit enter. There we go. Looks beautiful. We save it, and then we print it. We're going to print it to a PDF file, and we're going to choose the correct, choose an A3 border, ISO A3. Layout, always preview it. You've heard me say that before. There it is. It looks beautiful. And then we can print it and create our our document. Seems I already have one there. I will write over it, and there we go. All right, so that's what I turn in. All right. So that's it. I hope that helps. Please email me if you have any questions about that. I will see you in the next video. Bye.